Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to challenge a habit that quietly steals your energy, undermines your confidence, and drains your focus. It's the habit of over-explaining yourself. Every time you feel the need to justify your decisions, defend your actions, or clarify your intentions, you hand away a piece of your power. Imagine moving through life with a quiet confidence where your choices speak for themselves and your calm presence commands respect without a single word of unnecessary defense. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop explaining yourself, reclaim your inner strength, and discover the quiet, unwavering power of calm control. True strength is not measured by how loudly you can defend yourself, how many explanations you can give, or how meticulously you justify every choice and action you take. Strength is revealed in the quiet, unwavering calm of a person who knows their worth and trusts their decisions. When you constantly feel the need to explain yourself, you are essentially seeking validation from others, giving away the power that rightly belongs to you. There is a subtle but profound difference between defending your actions out of necessity and over-explaining out of insecurity. One builds respect, the other diminishes it. Every time you justify yourself unnecessarily, you dilute your authority. People begin to sense uncertainty, even if you are certain, because your energy is scattered in a futile attempt to convince others. True strength, however, is knowing that your decisions, your values, and your actions speak for themselves, and that those who matter will recognize them without your constant explanations. This is the strength of calm control, the kind that is rarely shouted about but always respected. When you operate from this place, you carry an invisible power that commands attention and draws trust. You no longer react defensively, you respond intentionally. You no longer seek permission or approval, you stand firmly in the authority of your own life. It is an internal fortress built on the foundation of self-respect and clarity. You begin to understand that over-explaining is a form of giving away your energy. Every word spent justifying yourself is energy taken away from your growth, your focus, and your purpose. People who rely on explanations are tethered to the opinions of others, while those who master calm control move freely, unencumbered by the weight of constant validation. When you learn to operate from calm control, you no longer feel the pressure to explain every nuance of your decisions. You know that actions carry more weight than words, and that confidence is communicated through behavior, not endless clarification. A strong, calm individual does not need to argue for their presence, their choices, or their vision. They project certainty through posture, tone, and deliberate action. Their life becomes a testament to their values, and others are drawn to that certainty naturally. Think about the moments in life when you've seen someone operate with quiet confidence. They do not flail, they do not over-justify, and yet they hold a magnetic presence. People instinctively respect them even if they do not fully understand every choice made. This is the power of calm control. It creates authority without aggression, influence without argument, and respect without explanation. Over-explaining is a mask of insecurity, a constant plea for recognition that erodes both perception and presence. Each time you feel compelled to justify yourself unnecessarily, pause and ask whether your words are serving your purpose or diluting your power. The key is not to withhold truth, but to release the need for approval. You are not obligated to explain your every move to anyone. There is freedom in knowing that your integrity, competence, and decisions can stand on their own. When you stop over-explaining, you begin to experience the quiet but transformative impact of your actions. People start to notice results rather than excuses. They see clarity rather than confusion. They respect decisiveness rather than debate. Calm control is about mastering the internal dialogue that tells you must defend yourself. It is about replacing that dialogue with the understanding that your life is not defined by others' opinions, but by the principles you live by. There is a certain grace in operating from this strength. You no longer scramble to convince, persuade, or appease. You act from purpose, knowing that the outcome of your actions, combined with your consistency and character, speaks louder than any explanation ever could. This is not arrogance, it is confidence grounded in self-awareness. It is knowing that your choices matter, your energy is valuable, and your life is your responsibility. When you cultivate calm control, your interactions shift dramatically. Conversations no longer become battlegrounds of defense. Criticism no longer feels like a threat. Misunderstandings no longer demand lengthy clarifications. You navigate challenges with a quiet assurance that reflects an unshakable foundation. People notice this even subconsciously. They recognize authority and competence, and they instinctively align with it rather than challenge it. You stop being pulled into reactive cycles, and instead, you operate from deliberate response. The distinction is profound. Reactive justification comes from fear and insecurity. Deliberate calm control comes from clarity and strength. One weakens you, the other empowers you. By refusing to over-explain, you reclaim your energy and redirect it toward meaningful action. You no longer expend mental and emotional resources trying to convince others of your rightness. You focus instead on progress, results, and intentional growth. This shift changes how others perceive you. Your presence becomes commanding without being loud. Your decisions are respected without debate. Your influence grows without effort. The strength of calm control is invisible yet undeniable. It transforms your professional life, personal relationships, and inner peace. It allows you to prioritize what truly matters over the noise of unnecessary justification. You learn that your clarity and consistency are persuasive in themselves. Over time, you notice a change in the dynamics around you. People respond differently. Challenges that once triggered defensive explanations now pass with a simple, measured presence. Conflicts are navigated with grace rather than frantic reasoning. Critiques are received with objectivity rather than internal panic. This is the mastery of strength through calm control. It is deliberate, intentional, and profoundly liberating. It allows you to move through life with dignity and authority, commanding respect without force. Your confidence becomes infectious, and your energy remains intact for creation, growth, and influence. By embodying this principle, you communicate a truth that words cannot capture. You are grounded, capable, and in control. Over-explaining fades into irrelevance because your presence, decisions, and outcomes speak with clarity. You no longer react to doubt or criticism with defensive energy, but rather you respond with measured intention. Others may question, challenge, or misunderstand, but your strength is in knowing that your truth does not require constant defense. You are free to focus on mastery, achievement, and the purposeful impact of your life. This is the difference between weakness disguised as explanation and true power expressed through calm control. It is a subtle, often overlooked skill, yet one that defines leaders, inspires trust, and creates influence. Those who master it realize the futility of over-explaining, the loss of energy it brings, and the authority that comes from measured restraint. Every time you choose calm control over unnecessary justification, you strengthen your internal foundation, sharpen your focus, and expand your capacity for influence. It is a discipline that requires self-awareness, patience, and courage, yet the rewards are immense. You become someone who others naturally follow, trust, and respect. You reclaim authority over your life, over your time, and over your energy. You demonstrate a level of professionalism, poise, and power that words alone cannot convey. This is the essence of true strength, the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who acts with clarity, values their energy, and trusts the power of calm control. Explaining yourself constantly does more than waste words. It diminishes your authority, undermines your confidence, and subtly erodes your presence. Every time you feel compelled to justify your actions, your choices, or your intentions, you are giving away a piece of your power. Authority is built on clarity, decisiveness, and the ability to act without constant defense. When you over-explain, you send a message of uncertainty. Even if you are certain in your heart, people sense hesitation, and hesitation invites doubt. It opens the door for others to question not just your decisions, but your competence. Each unnecessary explanation becomes a subtle signal that you are seeking approval, validation, or acceptance, which is a form of weakness disguised as communication. Strong individuals understand that authority is not communicated through words alone, but through presence, consistency, and confident action. Words can clarify, but they cannot replace the credibility built by intentional behavior. When you feel the urge to explain, pause and reflect on why you are doing it. Is it because you truly need to clarify for understanding, or is it because you are seeking reassurance, recognition, or validation? Most of the time, it is the latter. Over-explaining dilutes your energy and distracts you from what truly matters. You spend mental and emotional resources convincing others instead of focusing on execution, growth, and mastery. Authority comes from knowing your boundaries, understanding your purpose, and acting in alignment with your values. When you constantly justify yourself, you reveal uncertainty and invite unnecessary scrutiny. The power of restraint lies in trusting that your work, your actions, and your decisions will be recognized by those who need to recognize them. Over-explaining not only diminishes your authority with others, but also erodes your internal confidence. You begin to rely on external validation instead of cultivating inner assurance. Every time you justify yourself unnecessarily, you reinforce the habit of dependence on opinion rather than principle. Strong people cultivate the ability to move forward without seeking permission or approval. They operate with clarity and intentionality, trusting that their integrity, competence, and effort are sufficient to communicate their value. Authority is not given, it is claimed, and it is claimed quietly through consistent action and deliberate presence. Over-explaining is an act of self-doubt that erodes that claim. When you stop over-explaining, you reclaim not just authority but also energy. Words, while important, carry weight, and every unnecessary word drains you of focus, confidence, and presence. You begin to understand that your life, your time, and your influence are too valuable to spend convincing others of your intentions or worth. By holding back the urge to explain, you project an image of control, competence, and calm assurance. Others notice this instinctively, even if they cannot articulate why. They sense decisiveness, clarity, and a grounded presence that commands attention. The ability to withhold explanation is not arrogance, it is a sign of mastery over oneself. It communicates confidence, not aggression, influence, not desperation, and clarity, not chaos. People respect leaders who do not feel the need to justify themselves at every turn because they recognize that their authority is rooted in action and principle rather than persuasion or appeasement. Over-explaining diminishes your authority because it creates dependency on perception. You start measuring your worth through the lens of others' understanding rather than through the substance of your decisions and actions. Strong individuals know that perception aligns with reality. When actions are consistent and intentions are clear, they operate with focus, not with the constant worry of being misunderstood. Each explanation is a choice, either to drain energy and invite judgment or to act decisively and command respect. Authority grows when you prioritize results, clarity, and integrity over constant justification. This is the subtle but powerful distinction between reactive communication and deliberate leadership. Over-explaining is reactive, calm, measured action is deliberate. By resisting the urge to explain unnecessarily, you cultivate a presence that radiates confidence. You develop the ability to navigate challenges without faltering under scrutiny or criticism. You learn to respond with clarity and purpose rather than with defensive words. Authority is strongest when it is quiet, consistent, and grounded in principle. Over-explaining undermines this by signaling insecurity and a need for external affirmation. People naturally follow those who project inner certainty because certainty instills trust. When you operate from a place of calm control, your actions speak louder than explanations ever could. Your focus is on impact rather than perception. Your energy is directed toward progress rather than validation. Your presence commands respect without force. This is the essence of true authority, the ability to influence, guide, and lead through deliberate action rather than constant justification. Over-explaining is a habit that erodes authority gradually, subtly, and almost imperceptibly. It is easy to justify, rationalize, and dismiss, but the effects are cumulative. Every time you engage in unnecessary explanation, you are practicing weakness instead of strength. You are training your mind to seek approval rather than to act with confidence. Reclaiming your authority begins with self-awareness and intentional restraint. It requires you to observe the urge to explain, understand its origin, and choose to act with calm control instead. Authority is a muscle built through consistent, deliberate practice of presence, decision-making, and restraint. Over-explaining is the silent antagonist that undermines that muscle. Strong individuals know that every word spoken carries power, and they guard that power carefully. They speak when necessary, clarify when essential, but never over-explain in pursuit of approval or understanding. They operate from a grounded sense of self, trusting that integrity, competence, and consistent action will communicate their authority far more effectively than words alone ever could. By choosing calm control over reactive explanation, you reclaim your energy, sharpen your focus, and cultivate a presence that commands respect naturally. You no longer let doubt, fear, or the opinions of others dictate your behavior. You act from principle, from clarity, and from purpose. This is the distinction between temporary influence through explanation and enduring authority through calm control. The former fades with attention, the latter endures regardless of circumstance. Over time, the cumulative effect of resisting unnecessary explanation becomes profound. You notice a shift in the way people respond to you. Critiques are absorbed without panic, challenges are addressed without fluster. Misunderstandings are handled with clarity rather than desperation. You operate from a place of quiet authority that others cannot ignore. This is the power of withholding unnecessary explanation. It preserves energy, maintains authority, and cultivates influence that is lasting and undeniable. Authority built this way is respected, trusted, and followed because it is rooted in strength, clarity, and calm control rather than in the fleeting approval of others. Silent confidence communicates far more than words ever could. It is a force that does not need justification, persuasion, or constant explanation. Those who master silent confidence understand that the impact of presence outweighs the impact of speech. When you are grounded in who you are, your values, and your decisions, words become secondary. People sense your certainty, integrity, and purpose without a single explanation. This is the power of calm control, a presence so steady, so deliberate, that it speaks volumes without uttering a single unnecessary word. Silence is not emptiness, it is energy concentrated, authority projected, and influence asserted with subtlety. Over-explaining is often a sign of insecurity, but silent confidence signals mastery over oneself. It communicates trust in your decisions, trust in your principles, and trust in the natural flow of life. When you act with silent confidence, you no longer feel the need to justify your choices to everyone around you. You are selective with your words because you understand their weight. Every word spoken carries energy, and every unnecessary word dilutes that energy. Silent confidence is about reclaiming your power by being deliberate, intentional, and measured. People notice this instinctively. They are drawn to it, influenced by it, and reassured by it, even if they cannot articulate why. There is a magnetic quality to someone who speaks less but acts decisively. Their silence carries authority. Their calm presence communicates mastery, competence, and integrity. Silent confidence allows you to operate without fear of judgment, criticism, or misunderstanding. You no longer seek approval because your internal validation is sufficient. This creates freedom, a freedom that over-explainers rarely experience. It allows you to focus on growth, results, and purposeful impact rather than on defending yourself. Those who rely on words to justify, explain, or persuade often get trapped in cycles of miscommunication and distraction. They expend energy on reaction rather than creation. Silent confidence, by contrast, channels energy into action, influence, and leadership. It allows you to navigate challenges with poise, handle criticism with composure, and maintain focus amidst chaos. When you cultivate silent confidence, your presence alone becomes persuasive. People respect your decisions because they sense thoughtfulness, integrity, and self-assurance. They follow your lead not because you demanded it, but because your calm certainty naturally inspires trust. Words can clarify, but actions validate. Silent confidence bridges the gap between intention and impact. It communicates authority without aggression, influence without manipulation, and respect without demand. Over time, cultivating silent confidence reshapes the way you are perceived. You are no longer the person who feels compelled to explain or defend. You become someone whose presence commands attention, whose decisions inspire trust, and whose energy attracts alignment. This is not arrogance, it is mastery of self. It is understanding that your life, your energy, and your influence are too valuable to be spent convincing others of your worth. Silent confidence allows you to maintain clarity in complex situations. It enables you to act decisively under pressure because you are anchored internally. You are no longer swayed by doubt, external opinion, or fleeting criticism. You operate from a foundation of self-respect and deliberate action. Others may question, challenge, or misunderstand, but your strength is in your ability to remain unmoved, consistent, and confident. The quiet authority of silent confidence speaks louder than any argument. It creates a presence that communicates capability, trustworthiness, and intentionality. People respond differently to someone who operates from calm, silent power. Criticism becomes less threatening, challenges become opportunities for measured response, and miscommunication becomes a non-issue because your clarity of purpose is evident. Silent confidence is a skill developed through practice, awareness, and restraint. It requires you to observe the urge to over-explain, to pause before reacting, and to act intentionally rather than defensively. Each time you choose calm observation over frantic justification, you strengthen your presence and authority. It allows you to influence without forcing, lead without demanding, and communicate without excess. Your actions speak on your behalf, conveying clarity and integrity far more powerfully than words ever could. Silent confidence fosters respect naturally. People do not need to be persuaded of your capability. They sense it in how you move, decide, and respond. Your energy becomes magnetic because it is undiluted by the need for external approval. You operate from authenticity rather than performance, and that authenticity resonates with everyone around you. Over-explaining, by contrast, communicates self-doubt, uncertainty, and a lack of trust in one's own decisions. It creates dependence on external validation, which undermines authority, influence, and self-assurance. Silent confidence replaces this with an unwavering internal trust, a foundation that is unshackable regardless of external circumstances. Cultivating this form of strength requires self-discipline. It requires observation of your own tendencies to justify unnecessarily and the courage to resist them. It demands a shift from reactive to intentional communication, from frantic explanation to measured presence. The rewards are immense clarity, influence, energy preservation, and enduring respect. Silent confidence allows you to focus on outcomes, growth, and purpose rather than on defending perception. It frees you from the tyranny of other people's opinions, enabling you to act decisively and with integrity. This creates a ripple effect. Your energy, focus, and calm authority influence the dynamics around you. People respond differently to someone who does not need to prove themselves constantly. They notice decisiveness, they sense capability, and they respect authority conveyed through action rather than words. Silent confidence communicates mastery in its purest form. It demonstrates that you're grounded, competent, and deliberate. It allows you to navigate complexity with composure, handle pressure without panic, and maintain focus on what truly matters. It is the antidote to over-explaining, reactive defense, and the constant drain of seeking approval. By cultivating silent confidence, you reclaim your energy, strengthen your authority, and enhance your influence. You communicate power without aggression, respect without argument, and clarity without over-explanation. Over time, this transforms not only how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. You no longer seek validation, you embody it. You no longer defend, you act. You no longer explain. You influence through presence and deliberate action. Silent confidence becomes the foundation of a life marked by calm control, purposeful impact, and unwavering strength.